All right, so let's kind of just start off with a little activity. Try to think of a moment where you were genuinely happy. Like the last moment where if you were to just play back in your head like 10, 20, 30 times, you'd be like, this is it, man. Like I'd want to do this.
Yo, I just checked the stats for the Shady Youth. We just crossed 1,000 views. We also crossed 100 hours of watch time.
Shout out.
So I'm definitely happy at that because, I worked so hard on this, putting in like 8 hours a day editing and trying to think of ideas,
That's a fact.
With school and work, that's a lot though, dude. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me and people who's helping out. Rashidul right there.
Bro, of course.
So
yeah, we have a guest audience back again.
Yeah.
Rashidul.
So yeah, that's why I'm happy.
That's amazing. So for anyone outside of the YouTube sphere, that might seem kind of superficial, but you guys don't understand. Like we put in a ton of, Ifad puts in a ton of effort, bro. This man is literally the backbone of the Shaded Youth.
Thanks, man.
Like, honestly, like he puts in so many hours editing a lot of this because I'm unable to.
We're gonna eventually learn. We're gonna have to teach you.
Yeah, of course. Like I'm trying to learn, but
yeah,
like this man is editing a lot of it. And when you see the fruits of your labor, like whether it be in numbers, it really does wonders for just how you're feeling.
Any growth, I think, big or small,
exactly,
is growth, and that concludes to happiness, in my opinion.
Of course, bro.
Yeah, so definitely happy, bro.
So outside of your professional life, because this is kind of like our business thing.
I told you that episode 3. Yeah,
episode 3 is
I think episode 3 or 4 friendships. When you asked what are we, I said
4,
business partners.
People are gonna take that seriously.
No.
We're friends, guys.
Friends with benefits. Never mind. What? Yeah, you were saying.
So pretty much outside of this whole professional space, right?
Yeah.
In your personal life, is there like any genuine moment where you can kind of like pinpoint on like, yo, this is it for me?
I have a very supporting mother. Everything I have been doing in my life, whether I'm screwing up or actually helping the family grow or myself, she's always been supportive. So I'm always, when I'm having a moment of silence to myself, I always like, yo, bro, I'm so blessed to have a mother like that. I'm pretty sure others have it too, but I'm talking for myself. So I'm always happy
just spending time with her.
Exactly, just talking to her. So that's my happiness.
I love the fact that you brought up family because honestly that's it for me too. Like spending time with my sister, she's like 10 and a half years younger than me.
Dude, she's getting older. Wow, I remember when she was small, right?
Yeah, you met her.
Yeah.
Okay, so I brought her to my 5th grade graduation when she was like 5-6 months. Like, and
Nabil was small too back then. Your brother, right?
Yeah, Nabil's my younger brother. He's 2 years younger than me. Wow. But she, I literally saw her grow up, right?
Yeah.
With my brother, I kind of grew up with him, but my sister, I've literally seen her grow up and helped raise her. So it's just like a completely different feeling, just being with her, like hugging her for like 5 minutes sometimes. Like, coming home after a long day, after a long shoot. Sometimes she's sleeping, but other times she's like just staying up for the sake of it. So I just like get a smile on my face when I see her. And,
I would too, yeah, bro.
Yeah, of course. And another thing is, I live with a lot of people, right? Like it's not just my immediate family; it's also my relatives, like my cousin. Who's 7 right now, and my baby cousin who's only a year and a half, and then their parents, right? Mm-hmm. And then a couple other relatives. But my baby cousin, I love spending time with him, especially because he learned he's getting like very smart. So he's been learning how to communicate and like how to say things, and he has like names for everyone, right? So he calls me Bhaiya.
Calls you Bhaiya?
Yeah, and because I'm his cousin in Bengali culture.
Everybody's a Bhaiya.
All your cousins are Bhai.
He's a Bhaiya.
Right, Rash is a Bhaiya. Ifad is technically my Bhaiya because he's like a year and like 7 months.
Yeah, I'm pretty old.
5 months older.
Yeah, pretty old. Yeah.
We're the same grade. Yeah. But you started school late.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That was it.
Didn't get love back, guys. Don't worry. Not that dumb. I'm definitely gonna cut that part out. I'm definitely gonna cut that part out. Yeah.
No offense.
Yeah.
He didn't mean that. But anyway, like my cousin, he's like only a year and a half and he calls me Bhaiya. And why that's so meaningful to me is that like my brother is also technically his Bhaiya, and like his older brother who's 7, he's his direct Bhaiya.
Does Nabil call you Bhaiya still?
Yeah, of course. Wow. It's out of respect. So
okay, yeah.
Anyway, my baby cousin, he only calls me Bhaiya, and he calls like...
He works out though, right? Sorry to cut you off. Nabil works out, right?
Yeah, my brother works out.
So he comes in like, hey, yo, Bhaiya.
I chill. He's not that hockey. He's not that big. But yeah. So my
Does he ever smack you?
no. What the heck? No, he doesn't.
I'm genuinely.
I'm the older
curious about
brother.
it.
Okay, he doesn't. Damn.
Yeah.
Chill. Anyway, like my baby cousin, he's just mad energetic, and I'm just like playing with him, and he like saying bye, like jumping up and down on the bed, and it's just like super cute, and it just fills me with like, so much happiness, so much joy.
I can see that. Yeah.
Kids in general just make me happy. That's
Yeah, I have a
really
little brother. You see them.
No,
You
yeah,
see
your
them.
brother's
Yeah,
your brother's so energetic.
He's very. Energetic,
He's so
yeah.
he's really cute. He's mad energetic.
He used to come in. Remember the few first?
Yeah, you guys
episodes?
probably remember him from the first episode.
Yeah, he doesn't come in anymore, guys. He's bored of us. He's already tired of our episodes.
I'm just like our viewers.
Yeah.
Oh shoot. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the theme for this episode is kind of, what does it mean to be happy, right? We pinpointed a few things here and there.
But let's give a general definition for it.
For happiness.
Yeah. Let's give a definition.
I feel like no one can truly say what it is, because everyone kind of thinks they understand it, but I don't know if anyone fully experiences it, perpetually, right? Like
It just happens.
It's
happens.
also like something we don't really understand, like temporary joy. Does that add to happiness? Is laughter a part of happiness? What is it really? In my philosophy class, I take philosophy. It's my second semester now, pretty much. So we were doing an activity this week. So the class itself is focused on death, right? It's focused on like all the little, thinking about death. There's how different philosophers thought about it, how different, groups think about it, religion-wise, secular-wise, all kinds of things like that. And so week by week, we have like different discussions on it. And so this week, we were focused on living forever, right? Because previously we were thinking about, is death truly a bad thing? And so the counter side of that is, okay, if death is a bad thing, then would living forever be a good thing? And so the whole discussion was just centered around that. And like, if you were to live forever, what would be the requirements for you to want to do that, right? Because everyone just has like a list of requirements, like, whether it be like, I want my family to live forever, or if I were to do that, I want to remain young forever, or so do you have any requirements that would come to mind if this question was posed to you?
I mean, I'm 20 right now, so the whole concept of time, it's
Soon to be
very
21.
Yeah, soon to be 21. So the whole concept of time, I think, it totally is different when you're talking about eternity.
Right.
So to even have the same family, to live with the same people for that long, would you even want to? I was reading this article online, right, 2-3 years ago, where it asks couples, like happily married couples, would you guys be okay living with each other if you guys were to live for 500 years, 600 years, even 1,000 years? And vast majority of them said no. We probably switch up, go to the next person. It just experience with different people,
Oh wow.
Because after 40 years of marriage, people found out that they already know a lot about the person, to the point they even know what the person's gonna say in the next sentence.
So you're saying you're saying you wouldn't want like the whole caveat of, I want my loved one to also live forever, if we're doing this little thinking activity.
I mean, if we did live forever, it would probably be with different people. Not to sound like, not to sound different, but yeah,
of course, yeah, of course. I think, okay, so let's say let's forget significant other, because we probably have.
Because already with friendship, look at friendships. We're switching friendships yearly.
Right.
You meet new people yearly. So look at the long term now.
It's been 10 minutes.
So yeah, every year how you go through different friends. Like you have like your main friends, like 3-4 friends, but then you have like other people come and go. We're doing that every yearly. So imagine over a span of like eternity, which is like 1,000 years or more.
I think like your core group always stays the same, right? You're not switching people out, like the 3-4 friends that have been with you. You're not switching them out every year, right?
Of course, but after a certain time, they might show you your true side. It happens.
It does happen.
Let's be a realistic person.
Of course, it does happen.
Yeah. So
you're basically saying that, because the overlying activity that we're doing right now is like immortality, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying like the condition of your loved ones being immortal as well, that's not really important for you. So what would be a requisite then?
What would
like
be
youth? Is that important?
Youth is important, but I think more of it is the mind. If your mind isn't growing, let's
Right.
say you're living for 1,000 years and you
Right,
still
right,
think the
right.
same way as you did 1,000 years ago,
Yeah.
then you're not really growing as a person.
Right.
But if you're continuously growing, I think that one thing would keep you guys together.
Of course.
You know?
So another thing, so in my class we were reading a paper on
Yeah.
this whole thing, and he mentioned that the person that you're going to be at the end of this whole cycle is going to be nowhere near the same person that you're going to be in the beginning of the
Of
cycle.
course, yeah.
So if you don't even recognize that person at the end, would you even want to be that person? Because it's not even going to be you. Let's be real. It won't be you at all. So would you even want to even establish that as a destination for yourself? Right? And this whole thing kind of gets me thinking, like, is life truly a thing where if I have more of it, I'll be, more content with what I have? Or like time, does time affect happiness? Will more time give me happiness? The whole saying of time is money, because if you start wasting your precious time, then you're losing money, you're losing value. That's things that you could have done on something else, something you could have put your own money effort into, right?
Yeah, definitely. But I don't think everyone sees times the same way. I think the people who are doing everything they can to live a happy life, I don't think they care much of how much time they have left, which is why you see a lot of people, old people at retirement homes, when you ask them, is there anything that you regret? They're like, no, honey, I don't regret anything. Everything that I did led up to this certain point in my life.
Right.
And they'll start giving you advices.
Right.
But then you see people like us, 20, 15-year-olds, ask them, or is there anything regrets? They're already full of regrets.
Yeah.
We're only like 2 decades old,
So
and
many.
we're already full of regrets. But yeah, so audience right there, live audience.
That sucks.
Feedback. Yeah, not a lot
paying
of
someone else next
not
time.
a lot of happy people today in our audience today. But yeah, so people are already at the young age already full of regrets. But when you go towards older people, these veterans of wars, or 60, 70 years old, and you ask them,
Veterans of life.
yeah, veterans of life, exactly. At that point, they're veterans of life, and they're like, yeah, I'm happy. I have no regrets.
Right.
I had the privilege of working in a hospital. I think you work in a nursing
I
agency,
work
right?
at an urgent care.
Urgent care, similar. But yeah, I had the privilege of working with some old people, and I asked them, are you happy with your life? In this condition, fatal conditions. And they're like, yeah, I'm happy, dear. I lived my whole life.
Right.
And I can't expect to be youthful just like you guys are, but my mind is still young.
Right.
So at that age, I would still expect my mind to remain young. Some people, I feel like when they get older, they drive off their happiness because they're like, okay, I'm just getting old and wrinkly.
Right.
It
You
happens
become
in
boomers.
our boomers. It happens in our culture a lot. Our parents, they hit like 40, 50 years old, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm already old. And then you see like Americans or people who are born here, 70, 80, they're starting out businesses, making YouTube channels, and they're happy, full of life.
No, but our parents are just saying that for us.
Yeah.
I feel like they just think differently, because bro, I see uncles like 80 years old, bro. They're living life. My nana, my mom's grandpa, he's so energetic, bro. Like he'll come because he visits for a few months out of a year every year. My
Yeah.
grandpa, he's such a social butterfly. Like he came the first time he ever came, like, bro, in a week or two he had like a whole group, bro. He was bowling. Like, I would just randomly come outside, after like salah, like after prayer, and I would just see him like randomly walk around with like a whole group of goons, and I'm like,
So
yeah.
his condition is like really well, like health condition.
He's honestly he's pretty healthy. Like,
Oh, that's
but,
good.
Of course he's old, so those defects are there, but he's
Yeah.
fairly healthy for his
Wow,
age. Like,
good for
he's
him. God bless him.
he's always
Yeah.
smiling.
Yeah, God bless him.
Yeah, he's always smiling. He's always so like he's very funny. Like, he'll roast anyone, bro. My mom and him, they're super close. My grandpa's like always roasting her, and it's very loving, the kind of relationship that they like. You know how you always see like uncles or your dad like treat a baby, like how your parents are with your little brother. Like my grandpa literally shows that much affection to like us, his grandkids, and even my mom, who's like, how old is she? She's 39.
Sometimes somebody's vibe or aura can
Right.
just make you happy.
Right, of course.
Like if you have like 10 people who are sad and you just have to bring a happy person,
Of course.
at the end of the day they'll probably all be happy just
Yeah.
because of that one person.
We mentioned this
Yeah.
on I forget what episode. I think it was on the friendship episode. but
Bad
bad vibes
friends.
will kill you.
Exactly.
Like bad vibes are not it, bro. Like good
Exactly.
good vibes are good
Audience-
vibes are crucial to any
Survival.
relationship
Yeah.
and survival. Yeah, honestly, survival. And like the whole concept of happiness is, I think some people are too keen on the idea of trying to get it and not really focused on the moments themselves,
Getting what? Like happiness?
like the destination of
Destination.
achieving that, right?
Okay. They're
But-
not focused on the journey, right?
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole thing of, if I have enough time, perhaps I can do everything that I want to. I don't think that'll happen at all, and that's why I'm firmly against like the whole thing of, oh, I want to live forever, and I'm a religious guy, so we're both Muslims, so we believe in an afterlife. But for this world, there's just the fact that we have mortality. It's such a beautiful thing that
It
we have
pushes us.
we have a deadline.
It pushes us to do our best.
Right.
Yeah.
I was watching this. Matt Diavella, right?
Yeah.
So
Great-
Matt
great.
Diavella, he had this thing called the happiness paradox. That was the episode of, that's the title of the episode. And he basically goes through how people are so keen on the fact that success is something that they strive for, that they get so worried and stressed and anxious about it, right? And they become impatient. Like, when am I going to hit that point? And it's very crucial at a time like, us with our podcast, we might be thinking like, when am I finally gonna get that big break?
100 subscribers.
Subscribers, views, whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think you need that because I have experienced
to a limited extent.
Yeah, because I have experienced instant success, and that comes with instant gratification.
Exactly.
And you become unhappy over a
Right.
certain time. If you work for something and then you get the benefits, you're more likely to be happier. with
Exactly.
that.
Like every like Instagram entrepreneur says, trust the process, bro. Love the process.
Three
Live by
step-
the process.
3 steps to happiness. Those. You ever seen those videos?
No,
The
no,
3
I-
steps to happiness. They'll literally say, "Yeah, I'll give you the 3 steps to happiness," which I don't
Oh,
believe. Yeah, like
okay, yeah. Those are kind of corny.
yeah, very corny.
And I'm just gonna say a side point. I watched this like commentary video. Kind of like going off these Instagram like entrepreneurs, because I find them a lot of them corny. Like,
Knowledge. Do you know what that is?
bro, like
Do you know what I'm talking
we're
about?
not gonna say them
Yeah.
names or anything, but like it's very corny, a lot of it, because a lot of it is legitimately like just so the whole thing about loving the process. It's as like kind of cliche as it sounds, it's so relevant, because once you just kind of do the things that you set out to do, and instead of focusing hyper focusing so much on the destination, you'll be content. Like in Matt Diavella's video, he was going through how people that are on the grind, they're so focused on like where they're going, and instead of just doing the work, right, putting in the hours, they're so focused on getting to something that they might not even get to. So let's say if you're putting all your chips into this one thing that you think will make you happy and it doesn't go there, what are you going to do now? That's something to think about.
You end up more depressed than you started because now you had something to expect.
Exactly.
You had expectations. I think when you don't have, I think what we're talking about is expectations. I think most of us don't achieve happiness. Myself, is because we have expectations. Expectations. Once you clear up the expectations, you'll see the littlest things in life will
Right.
make you happy.
No, of course, bro. Like,
Yeah.
life itself is just beautiful in and of itself. It's just the little things.
Always little
Like,
things.
I was watching this comedy special. I don't know if it's really considered a comedy special, but
Who's
on
it about?
Netflix,
Yeah.
Bo Burnham.
Probably heard of him.
He's a tall white guy that sings.
Oh, okay.
But his comedy is very different, because his stand-up comedy specials on Netflix, he has 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
He writes songs about like all this kind of thing, and his whole comedy special centers around a lot of introspective things, more introspective than other comedians per se. And in my opinion, he's less of a comedian and more of a performer, and he'll say that in himself in his second most recent, I guess, even though it's not that recent, it's 2016. So Bo Burnham, his comedy special is called Be Happy, right? And the whole theme of it is, cracking jokes at, like, things about happiness or things about, whatever. And towards the end, he has this whole breakout moment where he's kind of doing a monologue, but obviously it's like in his own way, and he has like all these effects and things like that. And he goes through how a lot of what he speaks about is being a performer, performing in front of people. Because when that comedy special came out, 2016, he was in his early 20s, right? He got his big break. He was originally a YouTuber. Funny as that is, he was originally a YouTuber. He got his big break with Comedy Central at the age of 17, but even before that, for like in his early teenagers, he's been producing videos, right? So for a good chunk of his life, he's just been performing, and so a lot of that added to his mental health, added to his depression, anxiety, whatever. Later on, he talks about how he would constantly have panic attacks throughout all of this, right? And the point that he kind of gets at towards the end of this comedy special, this whole thing called Be Happy, he's talking about how a lot of what he talks about is about being a performer because that's all he knows. How comedians, Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, they talk about things like family or, fame or, whatever, things that things that they're used to. Bo Burnham talks about performing because that's what he's been since he was a kid. And he's making the point that perhaps all of us are performers. That's why we relate to him. He's making the point that, in such a in a world where, social media, where everyone kind of knows what we're doing, on a daily basis sometimes because of stories or when we're broadcasting things to the whole world now, we're such a social individual that we lose some of that individuality, right? Or even to an extent where we lose some of ourselves because we're trying to cater too much to others. And he gets to the final point of, if you're fortunate enough to live without being watched, just do it, because that'll be it for you.
So he doesn't have any social medias or anything?
No, he does, obviously.
He does, right?
But he
no, the point he made was very strong.
Yeah, he's making the whole thing of, this can be a problem.
Yeah, definitely is a problem. I think every time you set yourself up in social media to live a certain way,
right,
you feel like you're obligated to live that way for the rest of your life. So if you're constantly traveling the world, if you're not traveling within the next 6 months, you're wondering, hey, what am I going to put up for my picture on my timeline?
Yeah.
Right? So at that point, your happiness is no longer just shared to you, it's shared amongst the world.
Right.
So at the end, you're not even happy with what you
right.
shared. Do you know what I'm saying? So that was a very good statement he made. So,
and obviously everything was with moderation, case by case basis, whatever, blah blah blah, all the whole spiel of it all.
Yeah, I mean,
but when you get to the crux of it,
no one is telling you.
When you get to the crux of it, right? Live for yourself.
Live for yourself.
That's really
exactly.
it. Live for yourself. Another thing that I recently came across that I've been focusing a lot more on is having gratitude. Because just for the sake of living itself is a blessing, bro. Big blessing.
Having a house,
so many things are blessings.
Having a house, having a food to eat,
right?
Having water supply,
having a purpose in life.
Exactly.
And that's another big thing too. Having a purpose. I'll be flat out with you, like, I'm a religious guy, and that's what gives me purpose. That's,
good answer.
That's what will give you purpose. That's why I'm living right now, because my means of existence is, for God, is by God, and is with God.
Yeah, so you're not lost. Which
exactly.
is why, you're always having a sense of happiness,
a sense of existence, sense of purpose, right?
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people, they go through their days really trying to find that, and that's what'll make it. That's what'll complete life for a lot of people.
Hope.
Yeah. That's another thing too, of course. And the whole concept of just trying to get the hustle and bustle of just daily living, 9 to 5. I know you're a big critique of that whole kind of lifestyle. We mentioned it a few times.
I mean, life is not that long. Why should you have to put so many hours just to live the same life every day?
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that whole thing can be, for people that enjoy their job, that want a simple life.
I mean, yeah, of course. If you enjoy it, go
if you
go
enjoy
ahead.
what you're doing, that's
go ahead.
fine.
Go right ahead.
By all
There's
means.
no white paper sheet that tells you this is happiness.
Exactly.
Everyone experiences happiness differently.
Mhm.
You know.
And I mentioned this book previously on a previous episode, but this whole concept of the grind and living by the process, it was mentioned in this book called The War of Art: Break Through the Blocks and Win Your Inner Creative Battles by Stephen Pressfield. And it's a whole book about trying to find one with your creative side, trying to build upon that, right? And it was talking. Well, there's just one quote that really stood out. It said, "We must do our work for its own sake, not for fortune or attention or applause."
Wow.
And that basically means just do the work because you want to and because you have to. Stop trying to think about all the possibilities of the future that might not happen, and you put all your hopes and dreams and means of purpose into, right? Perhaps you'll never get it.
And N-word, don't set yourself up for a failure. In this term, don't be unhappy because you expected something in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Just do the process because you just want to do it.
Yeah. And
but yeah,
I guess that's a okay point to end off on. God willing, we all find that purpose, that whole
state
end
of
goal
mind,
of happiness, but
state
also
of mind.
You live day to day. Just living by the process, loving the process.
And hopefully, guys, our episodes add to your happiness. We try our best to appeal to everyone.
Yep. We have a happy customer right there. So yeah. With that being said, episode 7 done. Have a great day, everyone.
Yep.